My name is Robin Kelly, and I'm going to give you a Sonar 8 demo. It may be the end of the day, but it's not the end of our demonstration schedule. Oh no, we've got 2, if not 3 demos coming. So this is Sonar 8 Producer, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a real quick audio for video demo here. So starting off, let's go ahead and press play. We actually have this video, which is loaded in. We can host AVI, MPEG, or QuickTime movies. We have some sound effects that we've placed. And those are what you can hear right there. And they're playing along, and we've got a few little percussion tracks, but we want to go ahead and build a song along to it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and rewind, unsolo our tracks. We got a little drum loop that's playing here. This drum loop is actually just one MIDI note that's being triggered off Dimension Pro. Now, Dimension Pro is actually included inside of Sonar 8 Producer Edition. It is available separately as well. You can purchase it for $249. It will run on a Mac or PC and comes with gigabytes of content. We're actually using it today here inside of this project in Sonar 8 Producer. So that's what we're doing here, just triggering that one little note. We want to add some more drums to that. And to do that, I've actually got a little drum loop that's already loaded in here. We can go ahead and solo that so you guys can take a listen. And that is actually being triggered by the Session Drummer. Session Drummer is another virtual instrument that's included inside of Sonar 8 Producer. I can map all my different samples to my different drum sounds there. It's also velocity sensitive, so as I click up through the bitmap, I'm actually velocity scaling so I can see what my samples sound like. And I can always go ahead, right-click, and change in different samples as well. A lot of people ask, how do I load or unload an instrument? Just simply right-click on it. I have my routing controls and also pan and width and so forth. Now I can use the included MIDI patterns if I want. Or I can actually create my own, or I can use it as a drum box. So at the beginning of this section right here, I don't want the drums to start right on the beat. I want kind of a pickup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the back side of this clip and open it up. And I can do this because it's a MIDI groove clip. So now right before the end of the last measure, measure 10, we're going to hear a little roll, and then it'll drop into the beat. So that's pretty good right there. And now what I'd like to do is actually drop in some pizzicato strings. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that track. I've got the synth already patched inside of my synth rack. I'm using another instance of Dimension, but I don't have any data yet. And we are a little short on time on this demo, so what I'm going to do is jump over to my Loop Explorer and actually click on a MIDI loop. And this MIDI loop is a MIDI groove clip, which means that it's actually being triggered by the Loop Explorer, and it's being routed into Dimension Pro. I can actually choose which synthesizer I'd like to audition this MIDI loop on. And then when I'm happy, I can just drag and drop it up into my track and then use it. So I'm just going to go ahead and double-click on it. And it's dropped into my track. And then I can also make a copy of it. I'm just going to do a control drag here. And one thing I'd like to do as well, because I always forget to do this, is I'm going to turn on my snap. It's getting later in the day. And I want to make sure that I'm actually going to snap things to the right section. So I'll just change my snap to measure. And now I'll drop to the nearest measure. So we had our little video before. We've got one little MIDI track playing Rapture, just a little backing sound. We've added our pizzicato strings. We've also added our drums. We just need to roll those out for the rest of the section, so we'll go ahead and do that right there. And we've also got our sound effects. So our song's starting to come together now. So let's go ahead and take a look and a listen. So we still need to add a bit more. I think we need a little zeta. So what I'm going to do is in this section, rewind back to the beginning of it, I got this Goa bass track. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop in a measure of that. So I'll turn on record. And this is actually triggering Zeta, which is yet another synth included inside of Sonar 8 Producer. If you want great analog sounds that sound really thick, definitely check out Zeta. And this is the actual patch that we're using, the Goa lead. So what I'm going to do is I've turned on my input quantize. This is because it's the end of the day, a little tired, want to make sure I play in time. So I've set it to eighth notes, so I'm really going to have to mess things up here for it not to work. So I'll go ahead and press record. Okay, so now I've actually got my little MIDI bass track here. So it's getting there. At this point, though, what I'd like to do is fit all my tracks to the screen. You can do that with the F key. That's a little trick for you. Press the F key and all your tracks fit to the screen. I also want to bring in some strings in this last section. So I've got yet another instance of Dimension, and this is actually going through the Vintage channel and also the Lexicon Pantheon. And this particular guy, let's just go ahead and turn off record there, is actually triggering the Garriton Pocket Orchestra, which is another sample set collection that's included. So I want to take those strings and actually add it to my song. So we'll go ahead and do that. And while I'm doing that, I'll let you guys see the video. Okay. No, it's loop recording, so I can actually go back, add more parts if I wanted to, add a lower bass track. Maybe I want to do it on this next section right here. So I'm going to add another note on top of that. Get some really nice low strings. So that quickly, we did this in 8 minutes. We've actually built an entire song. We're going to go right into another demo, so don't worry about that. We're actually going to check out the VS700. But we've built our entire song, so let's go ahead and back up to the beginning so we can see what's going on. I'll turn off looping. So we started with just some sound effects and a video, and already we've added all of our different parts, added some drums, added our pizzicato strings. Then we had that little drop in the center here. True Pianos comes in. You might have seen Brandon's demo on that. Then we bring in our strings, our nice Garriton Pocket Orchestra at the end. And you got a nice little video now. Okay, so maybe I want to take this and actually get it outside of the program. Well, how would I do that? I'm going to actually select everything, go ahead and hit export, and I can actually export the video. I can export it back out as an AVI, MPEG, or QuickTime movie. Doesn't matter if you brought in a QuickTime, want to export an AVI or WMV, that's not a problem. In fact, it goes one step further. If you have different encoders on the system, maybe you have a video editing software, you can actually access them from SONAR and utilize those encoders when you're mixing back out as well. Maybe you're actually going to say, okay, well, this is more of a work video and someone else is doing the full-on video editing. I want to just send them the music and the effects separately. How do I do that? Well, you can actually do an export audio instead. Of course, you could do an OMF file. And you can actually say, instead of the entire mix, choose by just track. So I could say, let's get rid of the sound effects. And then I want to export a wave file, or maybe actually a broadcast wave might be smarter. And then I can give them a music and effects mix. So I give them different stems and so forth. So all of this can be done from inside of Sonar 8 Producer Edition. And then I can actually use the Cakewalk Publisher and upload it to the internet and let my clients take a listen. So that was Sonar 8, quick overview.